Welcome back, my friends. This is, well, it's the end for Bobby J. We're wrapping up Knife of Dreams, last of the purely written by Robert Jordan books. The Wheel of Time today, which I guess is chapters, oh, I forgot, all the way up to like the epilogue. Might be chapter 29? 29, I think. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll talk quickly about the things that happen there, the things that are annoying there, and then we'll talk more about, like, generally what it does, what it didn't do, and so forth. Let's just get cracking on it, shall we? Well, cheers. All right, so what's happening in the rest of this? Well, Perrin frees Fail, Matt marries Tuan, and we don't hear anything of Rand anymore, which is, you know, a good thing. Oh yeah, and Elaine does dumb things for all the wrong reasons, which doesn't make any sense. But one really cool thing, because we get a Brigade Act chapter, and that's about the best thing in this entire book, I think. It might even be one of the top things in the entire series so far. So, let's look at all those wonderful things, one after the other. Let's start with Perrin. So the Perrin Fail thing, we kind of dropped where, you know, Galena, betrayed them, tried to kill them, put them into that place down there, what's it called, in the cellar of that, like, burned out building in Malden, and, they're trying to free themselves, Megden, well, she's Morghese, Alejandra, and Fail. Now, let's look at, like, why this, yeah, and so they free themselves. I mean, they get freed by Roland, that, like, one, Guy Shine. No, he's not Guy Shine, right? Roland is one of the brotherless Aiel, right? So, the guy who's trying to get it on with Fail all the time. And who she's, considering to actually do it with, in order to get free. So they free them out of that, like, cellar, they walk out, which is when, Perrin and gang attack the Aiel, the Shadow, they meet, Perrin kills, Roland and everything, everyone's happy, and, hundreds of, wise ones of the Shadow get enslaved and colored and turned into Domani, by, the Shanshan, because, slavery is good, isn't it? So yeah, that's sort of the the basics of it. Now let's look at all the problems with that. I mean, there's a lot of things that are wrong in this chapter. Like, the overall plot is already part of the problem. So my verdict that women can't get shit done holds again, because it's while they are sending a signal with the power, because we remember Queen Morghese can channel sometimes a slight little bit or whatever. The person seeing that signal is a boy. The people dragging them out are men. They wander out, but they get helped by men, and then Perrin gets to free Fail, and I'm like, It remains the problem that even strong women usually don't get to actually do things. They get themselves into trouble, and then they get to, get helped out by boys, which, don't. Then let's look at the good thing there, right? The good thing here is certainly the build-up of Perrin's battle plan. That stuff is pretty good. That's pretty solid. Because, Robert Jordan's pretty good when it comes to, like, battle scenes. He knows how to do that, and that's cool. Now we come to an absolutely wasted plot line. The Aram plot line. Like, oh, gods, I'm still angry about that one. We need to appreciate the whole damn thing at that point. So what happens during the battle? Aram, who has been, as we've been told, like, in, like, few sentences here and there, spent more and more time with Masema, suddenly tries to kill Perrin because he has been convinced by Masema that Perrin is in fact a shadow spawn and he needs to kill Perrin because of the golden eyes, of the wolf eyes. He needs to kill him to free the Lady Fail. And then Perrin just kills Aram. No, not even. He doesn't even kill him. Like some random people shoot Aram in the back, and then he dies. What a fucking waste of a character and a plotline. Overall, like seriously. So the whole idea of like Aram being this like super handsome kind of Tuathon who flirts with every woman and so forth, and then leaves behind the way of the leaf and pacifism in the face of the attack, becomes a really good swordsman and like personal servant of Perrin until he suddenly decides to kill him because of the madness of Masema. And I'm like, you could have done so much with that. You could have done so much with that storyline of someone leaving behind pacifism, trying to make their way and so forth, falling into delusions, maybe have some like emotional struggles with like trying to come to terms with the fact that like all of your family, the Tuathon, have like basically disinherited you and don't talk to you anymore because you've left like their way of life behind. You could do so many good things with that, but we don't get any of it. We just get like, he smells eager to kill from Perrin, and that's all we fucking get. And it's such a fucking waste of time. It's like, just drop that entire character if you're not doing anything meaningful with it. It's like, why the fuck have that person in there? Why do that? And I'm not even talking about that super like anti-Sigonist part at the beginning of him like being that ladies' man, because you always need to have that one from that outside culture. Not even talking about that. Like, that character could have been something. Could have been really interesting, fascinating. Look at all of these ideas of like how someone from an outside culture tries to fit in by overdoing it, becoming overtly, you know, there's so much potential there. And we're just like leaving it all behind for, nothing. And then, like, even if we like, yeah, he's smelling more eager, and yes, we got the foreshadowing of saying, yeah, he spends time with Masema, and then he just suddenly, swings his sword towards Perrin. Perrin turns around, someone shoots a ram in the back, and we're done. It's like, any proper editor would just, like, kick Robert Jordan's fucking balls for that. It's like, don't do it that way. It's like, you build up a character for, like, 10 books, 11 books, and you do nothing with him. Nothing at all. It's like, why? Why? What's your point there? All right. And then handily, of course, Perrin kills Roland. I'm not sure if we'll get, like, any form of, like, any form of, like, closure to that. Because, yeah, Roland, while being, all kinds of bad news, did try to help Fail, will fail, like, in coming chapters. We don't know, because so far we'll find out in the next chapter, next book, I guess, which we'll talk about on Monday. So far, there's, like, no regrets, no emotions, or whatever on Fail's side on that behalf. She doesn't tell Perrin or anything. Like, no one knows, and Fail is just happy and laughing and crying in the arms of her strong Perrin who came to save her. And, Talon War is, of course, there. Our stalkers are, of course, there carrying around Magdan and so forth. Yeah. Who, because she's white, actually gets to be free and not enslaved by the Shan-Chan, because she's one of the good ones, right? And yeah, as I said, like, there's so much toxicity in these things at this point. It's just like, But yeah, the big one is the slavery issue. The slavery issue. The deal that Perrin makes with the Shan-Chan, so they help him attack the Shadow, is that the Shan-Chan can, like, take all the channeling people, all the people that can channel, all the women that can channel, and, turn them into slaves. That's a deal that someone who is supposed to be our hero makes. And literally the only thing there is that we get, like, a short mention that neither the Ale Wise Ones nor the three Aes Sedai who are with Perrin are happy about it. Like, the fuck? Like, seriously, How is saying that slavery is totally fine if it's serving the greater good, i.e., saving your wife? Is that the deal that someone just made? That, like, my wife's life, and I'll pay 500 people as slaves for that? Is that the deal that Perrin just made? And there is no inner monologue. There's no thinking about the consequences. Nothing except like parents saying, yeah, I'll do everything to free my wife. And yeah, that's fine. I get it. But if that's all there is, there's no discussion of the moral, like, idea of that, like doing everything, like being willing to pay every price, because he doesn't pay the fucking price. It's other people who pay the price. There's no consequences for him whatsoever at all. No moral consequences. He doesn't feel bad for them. He doesn't. No, it's. And I don't know, books that do that kind of thing on that kind of scale are reprehensible in a lot of ways. Just saying. I mean, no, don't do that shit. It sucks. It really, really. I mean, look. Just look at the moral, like the moral behind that. It's like, yeah, sure, pay that price. It's other people. It's always other people that will pay the price, and as long as you don't think too much about it, it'll all be fine. And yeah, that's certainly an attitude that you can have. It's not a good one though. And yeah, I would have really appreciated to have like some more, like some deeper aspect to that, like talk about it like in some form, have Perrin like actually think about what he's doing there instead of like, yeah, well, whatever, fail. And yeah, like on the grander scale, as an author, to actually write about like enslaving 500 people for the cause of the greater good, not even the greater good, like a personal good, having someone be that ruthless and also still be the good guy. No, just don't do that. There's like implications there that I don't appreciate at all. So much for the Perrin part, right? Faile, while being supposedly strong, doesn't actually get to do her own like escape. She has to be saved by 3 dudes. 1 who sees the signal, 2 like 1 who drags her out, 3 the one who enslaves 500 people and sells them as basically as slaves to someone else to free her. And that's how the world works. Men have to do the difficult decisions, not for them difficult, don't get me wrong, to help women who got themselves into all kinds of trouble. It's fucked up, is what it is. Yeah, don't do that. Let's have a quick look at Galena, who remains, obviously gets her safe punishment of, remaining a guy shine of like Zaretha. Whatever, that other one that was punishing her all the time and is very much into spanking people. And, well, whatever. We got a shit ton of humiliation there. I mean, she's evil, but still, it kind of feels weird that, people that are officially evil get it feels a bit like revenge porn is what it does, basically. Anyway, the Shadow now move back into the Threefold Land to become true savages again, because, they don't have the white officers leading them, so that's what'll happen. At least they found back to their purity. Is there a bit of nationalism in there? I think it is. But yeah, that's the idea. It's like, you either follow white men who will lead you into civilization, or you go back and remain pure to your folk ways, and that's it. There's no other way to do it. It's a mess, and it's a shame because up until then, it was like a pretty solid plot line. But, that's no longer. We'll see what happens with Perrin and Faile in the next 3 books. But that'll have to wait. All right, let's look at the next one. Matt. Let's pick Matt for once. All right, so Matt and Tuon get caught up by that dude from like the very early beginning of her banner general, whatever he was. And he finds Matt and Tuon. He doesn't get it all right. There's a bit of like a funny scene where he thinks it's Tom Marilyn. Then he gets surprised by it being Matt. Out of nowhere, Tuon finally marries Matt because of, prophecies and shit. And then leaves with her Banner General to do her Shan-Chan things. And Matt remains with a lot of the Shan-Chan soldiers to defeat the people that are hunting Tuon to kill her. Under orders from Suroth. And then we get like a big battle. That's once again a solid battle because Robert Jordan is good at solid battles. And then we get like the epilogue where, we need to talk about the epilogue in all kinds of places. But anyway, closure there is that Tuon kills, or, not kills, but gives Suroth over to the soldiers for whatever Shan-Chan soldiers do. I assume rape, but we don't know. Does that, so that bit's all solved, and we'll find out what happens in the future. Alright, so there's that bit. It's okay, not great at all, but there we go. It's Matt. It's okay. It's nice to see him sort of like figuring out how to be in a marriage. It's a bit cringy, but if this is written for 15-year-old boys, I guess it kind of makes sense. So we're good there. The battle is fine. The problem is the prophecy thing, and this is a larger thing that I'll come back to in a minute when we've also spoken about the Elaine part. Oh yeah, nothing big there. That part was solidly executed. Well done. Good on you, Bobby J, for getting it right. Now let's look at Elaine, shall we? So Elaine learns what's Doyle and Mellar, that's the dude. Mellar is, going to that house of all those dark friends and Black Aja people, and she decides to do the thing, which is walk there with other Aes Sedai, with all of the other Aes Sedai that are still there, which is Van Dien and two others that I have already forgotten. Walk there in the middle of the night to confront them. And it goes as well as you might think, which is there's a trap, they all get caught, everyone gets killed except Elaine and the one who I think was Cariana, maybe, whatever. That one, who was the Black Aja sister who killed Van Dien. Van Dien kills her with a knife, which is pretty neat. And then, everyone dies, Elaine gets kidnapped by the Dark Friends, and, Brigitte has to save her. Now let's look at why this is a problem. I've read people say that it's stupid from Elaine to do that, and Elaine is a stupid character, and as a person she's stupid. We need to talk about that lack of distance at some point. But my main issue here is, for the entire book, and the entire book before Crossroads of Twilight, we have spoken about Elaine's pregnancy, and how everyone is forbidding her to do anything, eat meat, drink alcohol. Well, the alcohol part is solid, don't get me wrong there. Eat meat, she can't do anything because people are preventing her from doing anything because of her pregnancy. And once she comes up with that scheme, which is, I'll go and confront evil people that use evil magic and want harm to be done to me. I'll confront them with 3 women, and that's it, and a bunch of warders. We're going there, and it's a ridiculous scheme. And no one brings up the fucking pregnancy anymore. And that's shitty. That's shitty writing. That's why you need a fucking editor to do their fucking job. To tell you, right, Bobby J, you can't do it that way. Bring up the pregnancy. Make sure it's still there, because right now it's everyone's sitting there, it's why is Elaine doing this? The point is not why she's doing this. I can totally see her rationale for coming up with that idea. But why is no one of those people that prevent her from doing anything halfway, whatever she wants, because of those kids, even bringing them up anymore? Yeah, someone calls the scheme crack-brained. And I mean, yeah, that's true. But crack-brained is not the point here. The point here is that that at least one person should say, you know what? You, with those kids, you should not go into battle. Battle is bad for people with, for pregnant people. Even worse than for other people because, it can also kill the kids, basically. But we don't get that. And that's an oversight. That's an insane oversight that really should have been caught by, well, the editor, whom Robert Jordan, in the funny, quick interview that's always at the back of the audiobooks, calls very, very good. No, Bobby J. You know what? You might love her because she's your wife, and she might be a fantastic person, but she's not doing a good job as an editor on this book at all. And yeah, that's like the first thing that we need to figure out here is like, why the fuck does he drop all of that to get her in that situation? Now, obviously, for the following plotline, which is, everyone sending their army outdoors, like out there, and just as Aramilla is doing her attack on the doors, they free Elaine and they can attack them from the back, and Elaine wins a famous victory and suddenly has almost all the Andorran houses behind her and is almost queen now. Glorious victory, epic scenes. I get all of that, but if you want to get there, why does it have to be through the stupid idea of a woman? Why not actually have the kidnapping attempt go through? Be successful for once, right? What's wrong with, she being asleep, setting up something, someone knocks her out and they drag her off? Why not? It's not that hard, is it? No, it has to be her idea of being strong and independent and having, making, choices and stuff that gets her into the situation. And that's women don't think, it'll only cause you trouble, is basically the message of these books. All right, let's look at the good thing for once. Because we get that chapter about the bargain. And there's problems with that one, keeping the bargain. There's certainly problems with that we probably should look at some point, but not today. But it is Brigida's viewpoint, which I think is insanely cool, because finally, one of the best characters of these books gets an actual, chapter. And she does all the things. She saves Elaine. And yes, there is that guard dude that no one cares about that leads the army and everything. But it's her plan. She's doing all the things and she succeeds. It's not that hard to have a female character actually succeed with a plan. Why not do it more often and wait until the end of book 11? But yeah. I just want to call this out. This is an insanely cool chapter. Brigida is a fascinating character. She's really cool. She is strong. She's independent. She does have self-doubts. She overcomes those doubts. And she succeeds. Perfect. I want more of that. Why not give me more of that? It would be so cool to have more Brigida chapters. Same with Avienda. It's it is almost like Robert Jordan really hating actually strong women because they don't get any kind of page count at all. And it would be so easy to have more of that in there. It just doesn't happen. And so it's frustrating, but it's also, once again, I want to point this out. I was happy with that chapter. That was really cool. Having Brigida take charge and getting shit done, awesome. I want more of that. I hope I'm getting more of that in those Brandon Sanderson books that I'm going to read in the next couple of weeks. I have my doubts, however, because, it's always kind of tough with those books. Yeah. Here we go. The prophecy thing. Because afterwards, Elaine, we have Elaine's point of view, and she's yeah, she never had any fear because Min's viewing said that the kids will be born healthy. So that means she has to survive. And that kind of comes back and ties back to what I said before about the whole Tuan Mat thing, the prophecy thing. And it's one of the, for me, hard to understand, almost the hardest to understand why we don't get any of that. The whole world, the Wheel of Time, is set up with the idea of the pattern that basically predestines everyone to play their role in this weave of history, this tapestry, and with all the metaphors of threads and all that. And that's a cool idea. And apart from having predestination, we also have people that through magical abilities of one sort or another, get to actually look into the future and make true prophecies. Or do they make true prophecies? And you could do a lot of stuff, like philosophical examination of like how does that influence our choices when we know certain things will happen no matter what I do? How does that like impact our choices? How does that impact people if we implicitly trust prophecies, if we implicitly try to, fulfill prophecies? And you have that with Matt, who's like, yeah, the elfin or the elfin, whatever, one of those people told me I'll marry the daughter of the nine moons, so I'm gonna do it. And Tuan got the prophecy, that's the guy you're gonna marry, so she marries Matt. It's like, it would be really cool to examine how those kind of things impact a society as a whole, how they impact people in all kinds of ways. But we don't get that. We don't get that at all. No, we just like, yeah, she was safe because men's viewings always come true. It's so many lost chances in these, so many wasted chances and opportunities in these books. It's insane. But yeah, once again, I think the main issue here is inconsistency in the writing that an editor could have caught but didn't. And then the revelation that Robert Jordan is able to write strong women if he really chooses to, and give them a solid, rewarding chapter if he chooses to, which apparently he doesn't otherwise. Great that, right? And then it ends with like everyone getting, their things. I already forgot the name of the girl that was suddenly really sharp. She is really, smart and everything. Then Elaine actually gets everyone at the end when she talks about like how to deal with all kinds of other like threats. And she gets everyone on her side, and there is general rejoicing. All right. Final bits. The final bit is certainly the idea. The other thing is that's the scene with what's her name. Anyway, those Red Aja from the White Tower showing up at the Black Tower, giving the opportunity of bonding waters, and Mazrim Taim laughs at them and he says, "Let the Lord of Chaos rule." So now we know that he's evil again for reasons that we probably will never get, but he's evil now. Anyway, and that's how we end with the cliffhanger, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of books. There's 3 of them. We'll start with The Gathering Storm, A Gathering Storm, something like that. The Gathering Storm. We'll start with that one on Monday, and we'll see where things are going. So, general thoughts on this one. Like, what's it called? Knife of Dreams. I did not enjoy it as much as I did Crossroads of Twilight. I think what we once again got, what was really good, is like we see the strengths of Robert Jordan's writing, which is when he does horror. When he does horror, he's good. When he does actual, battle scenes, he's good. All of that is really good. But he can't prevent himself from, having all these really reprehensible ideas creep in with the slavery thing, with the whole the pillow friend situation, with that completely irrelevant chapter about the mass suicide that we talked about. We have all of these issues in there. The lack of female agency. We have all of these things creeping in again and again and again. Plus a lot of shoddy editing in this one where I'm like, why? It would have been easy to catch. Why not doing that? So I know, well, this is the last one that Robert Jordan really wrote. I will not, use that as an argument for anything. I'm just saying it feels okay-ish where the plot lines come. The whole Tormund final battle is coming closer. That threat of something rushing on, that huge final battle coming closer, that sense of imminence is there, and he's doing a solid job of getting that across. It felt like there was even more spanking than before, which I'm just like, whatever. at this point. I don't need those spanking scenes. His characters, especially the ones that are, not his main characters, remain extremely two-dimensional and flat and over the top. Like, evil people be evil, also stupid, and it's just not good. But it's also something that we've gotten used to over time, so yeah, whatever. And then we have, like, as a shining beacon, that whole Brigadier chapter, which is the best part of the entire book and might just be one of the best chapters in the entire series. So there's that, at least. Yeah. I don't know. Robert Jordan is not, or was not, a good writer. He has a lot of really good ideas, and then he gets, like, distracted, buries all of that stuff in all kinds of unnecessary and highly reprehensible bullshit, and his editors did not rein him in. It's a shame, because there's a good thing down there somewhere. We'll see how it changes with Brandon Sanderson taking over the actual writing. Maybe the prose will be better, will improve, I guess, hopefully. If I read the whole, like, snake, like, sinuous snake-like movement paragraph about, like, Murderall once again, I'll, I can't punch Brandon Sanderson, but I would for that kind of stuff. But, we'll see where all of that is going in the next one. This one is... yeah. It showed all of Robert Jordan's personal failings as a writer, and how, like, all kinds of implicit or subconscious political, societal, and whatnot biases, like, creep in all the time. It showed that once again in perfection, and that's a huge problem. Frankly, don't read that kind of book. Really, it's that easy. It's not good at all. I'm glad I've done it. I will read the last 3 books. I will definitely not go and read New Spring, because I think at this point there's nothing that book will add to my image of the Wheel of Time. It's a huge wasted chance, because there could have been something really good in there. Anyway, I'm taking for the weekend. I'm going to read some good books. I've already read a large quantity of Lovecraft Country, which I really, really enjoy so far. I'll go and read Brian Catling's Hollow tomorrow, I think, and then we'll find out what else happens over the weekend, and I'll be back with The Gathering Storm on Monday. Have a great weekend. Cheers.